Welcome to The Deep Dive, the show that takes the world's most iconic destinations, tears down the marketing fluff, and gives you the precise, actionable insights you need to turn a great trip into a legendary one.
And today, we are setting our sights firmly on the agency. We are charting a course right through Greece, a country of myth, history, and, just unparalleled natural beauty.
Yeah, we're dissecting it all. We're looking at the ancient gravity of Athens, the white and blue perfection of the Santorini caldera, and the rugged, massive beauty of the island of Crete.
And our sources for this deep dive are curated for a very specific person.
Right, we're thinking of the first-time traveler, maybe a couple, who's looking for that magic blend of history, relaxation, and, genuine culture.
And all while operating on let's say, a moderate budget. They want the wow moments without the serious wallet shock.
Exactly. So our mission is to analyze the logistical tightrope walk, the sometimes astronomical accommodation costs, and the food. The culinary highlights that make it all worthwhile.
And the strategic itineraries that you absolutely need to minimize friction. We have to deliver the absolute truth about high season, about the prices, about the crowds.
So let's just get straight to the core question, the central thesis for today. When we strip away all the Instagram filters, the folklore, the romance, is a trip to Greece in the 21st century really worth the hype?
Is it worth the complex logistics, the crowds you can't avoid, and most importantly for our listener, the cost?
Yeah. We need to separate the genuine bucket list defining experiences from the just skip it list, the things that just drain your funds and your patience.
To answer that, we really have to start at the foundation, how you get in and how you get around.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. For basically any international traveler, your Greek journey is going to start and end in Athens.
That's right. The gateway is Athens International Airport, ATH, and it's important to note this is a very modern, efficient, well-organized hub.
So you don't have that classic, overwhelming feeling you get at some historic European capitals.
Not at all. That efficiency is a huge plus right out of the gate. But immediately, you run into the biggest constraint of traveling to Greece.
The popularity.
Exactly. It's sheer popularity. So what's the single most crucial planning note we need to stamp in red ink for our traveler?
It's got to be booking in advance.
Months in advance. And I mean everything, especially if your trip is during the high season, which is roughly June through August.
And that period guarantees two things, right?
It does. One, elevated prices. You could see a 30 to 50% increase over the shoulder seasons. And two, the heat.
You can't underestimate the heat.
No, it's intense, inescapable summer heat that can easily push temperatures into the upper 90s, even over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If you haven't booked your accommodation and your key ferry links by, say, April, you risk paying a fortune or just missing out completely.
That heat warning is serious. We'll get to a coffee strategy to deal with that later, but okay. We've landed in Athens. Now we face the classic Greek traveler's paradox.
The island hopping debate.
Time versus money.
This is the definitive operational decision you have to make. Do you spend more hours relaxing on a journey and saving money, or do you sacrifice some budget for pure speed? Your answer really dictates the entire flow of your vacation.
I have to confess my bias here. I am a total romantic when it comes to the ferries.
You're on Team Ferry Romance.
Absolutely. Standing on the deck, feeling the salty spray, watching those iconic white villages appear as you approach the caldera. That's not just transportation. That's a core part of the Greek experience itself.
And our sources totally back you up on the quality of that experience. The large, slow-moving vessels like the Blue Star ferries, they're marvelous.
They're like mini cruise ships.
They really are. They're stable, they're comfortable, you have space to walk around, full cafes, designated seating. It makes the journey itself enjoyable. And critically, for our moderate traveler, it's the most budget-friendly option.
How much are we talking?
A ticket from Athens Port, Piraeus to Santorini might run you, say, 40 to 70 euros.
Okay, but let's be pragmatic. What's the counterpoint to my ferry romance?
The counterpoint is just raw efficiency. That Blue Star ferry experience, while amazing, it takes time, a lot of time. A trip from Athens to Santorini, a really common first jump, can take anywhere from 5 to 8 hours.
That's a day? If you only have 7 days, that's a whole vacation day just in transit.
Precisely. You add the time getting to and from the port, and it's a massive temporal commitment. A traveler on a tight schedule just doesn't have that luxury.
So that's where the flight comes in.
This is where flight pragmatism dominates.
Yeah.
Domestic carriers like Aegean or Sky Express, they offer these quick jumps. Athens to Santorini is about 45 minutes in the air.
Okay, that time saving is huge.
It's critical. Now, yes, the flight costs more, maybe 100 to 200 euros per person, depending on how early you book. But what it does is it buys you back 75% of a vacation day.
So we have the slower, cheaper, more romantic Blue Star or the faster, more expensive flight. But there's a third option too, right? The high-speed ones.
Ah, yes, the high-speed catamarans. They try to bridge the gap. They're much faster than the Blue Star ferries, maybe cutting that Athens-Santorini trip down to 3 or 4 hours.
But there are drawbacks.
Two major drawbacks that the sources really emphasize. First, they are more expensive, often priced closer to a budget flight. And second, because they're smaller and faster, they are notoriously bumpier.
So if you're prone to seasickness.
Avoid them. Honestly, the slow, large Blue Star is paradoxically the most comfortable, smooth sailing option.
Okay, so the rule is, if time is the absolute critical factor, fly. If budget and comfort are the priority, take the slow, comfortable ferry.
And always remember, for those shorter regional island hops like from Santorini to Crete, the ferry system is often the only real efficient choice anyway.
Okay, so we made it to our island. We've arrived. Now, the next big logistical hurdle, on-island mobility. The sources are crystal clear on this. You need wheels.
You really do. Public transport in the summer, especially on the smaller islands, is often just a recipe for frustration. It's infrequent, it's hot, the buses are packed. If you rely on it, you will miss the best, most remote corners of these islands.
And this need for your own transport, it becomes an absolute capital M mandate when you get to Crete.
A rental car is non-negotiable for Crete. We cannot emphasize this enough. The island is huge.
It's like a small country.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
the 5th largest island in the Mediterranean. To get to the stunning western beaches, the nature spots, the mountain villages, you have to drive long distances down these winding, often remote, sometimes even unpaved roads.
And trying to do that on the bus system is just not going to work.
It's simply not viable for a standard vacation itinerary.
Okay, but I have to challenge you on this a little. Our traveler is on a moderate budget. Car rentals, especially in peak season, they add up. You've got the daily rate, the mandatory full insurance. Parking can be a nightmare in the old towns. Can a budget traveler really not survive on Crete without a car?
That's a fair and a necessary challenge. And look, if you were to limit yourself strictly to one city like Heraklion or Chichigia, and you only took guided tours or very specific regional buses, yes, you could survive.
But you'd be missing the point of Crete.
You would be missing 80% of what makes Crete magnificent. The cost of a small rental car, maybe 35 to 70 euros a day in high season. When you weigh that against the cost of even just 2 full-day tours, it usually balances out.
And the freedom it gives you.
The freedom it affords you is priceless. Getting to the Samaria Gorge trailhead or Elafonisi Beach on your own schedule, it is worth the investment. It's just an unavoidable cost of touring Crete properly.
Understood. Necessary evil for the largest island. Now, for the smaller islands like Santorini, the whole dynamic changes. It becomes less of a challenge and more of an adventure.
Ah, yes, the excitement of the ATV or the scooter. This is where a lot of travelers get that thrilling sense of, pure freedom.
The sources paint such a vivid picture of this. Renting a scooter or an ATV is cheap, parking is a breeze, and you can truly explore every little hidden cove and a clifftop viewpoint. You feel the wind, you're totally autonomous.
Yeah.
It feels like the ultimate island experience.
But we have to immediately follow that romance with a massive safety caveat.
A huge one.
The roads are often chaotic, they are narrow, they are winding, and they get suddenly congested. And the tourists operating these vehicles, they have, let's say, varying skill levels, often very low.
And accidents are common.
Serious accidents are common. So the sources strongly advise wearing a helmet at all times. And if you have any doubt at all about your ability to handle 2 or 4 wheels in busy traffic, just opt for a small rental car instead.
That feeling of freedom isn't worth risking your safety for.
Not at all. A small car, even on Santorini, gives you similar flexibility without that inherent danger.
Okay, so we've nailed the transit. Now we need to figure out where we're going to sleep. This is where strategic planning really pays off for the moderate traveler. We're looking for value and authenticity in Athens, Santorini, and Crete.
Starting in Athens, the first instinct for most people is, proximity to the ancient history. And that often means you're going to pay a tourist tax.
Exactly. Most first-timers look immediately at the Plaka area, right underneath the Acropolis. And while it's charming, our sources strongly advise against staying there.
Why is that?
It's noisy, it's overcrowded, and most importantly, it's significantly overpriced because you are paying for that exact proximity.
So where do we point the strategic, value-conscious traveler in Athens?
We point them towards neighborhoods that offer a real slice of Athenian life while still being perfectly accessible. The two main recommendations are Koukaki and Siri.
Okay, tell me about them.
Koukaki is just south. It's a 10 to 15-minute walk from the Acropolis entrance, but it feels genuinely residential. It's full of local bakeries, independent coffee shops, quiet little tavernas.
And Siri?
Siri is a bit northwest. It's got a more bohemian, artistic, kind of nightlife-focused vibe, but it still feels authentic. Both of them put you within a short walk of the main sites, but you can retreat to a local, quiet, and more reasonably priced area in the evenings.
You get the local experience without sacrificing convenience. I like it.
Now let's move on to the accommodation challenge that dominates every discussion about Greek travel.
The Santorini split decision.
The place where the view comes with the most punitive price tag imaginable.
Santorini basically offers you two completely different vacation experiences based purely on where you stay. You have the caldera side Oia, or Fira, with the iconic cliffside infinity pools and those world-famous views. That's the fantasy.
And
then you have the beach side, areas like Parisa or Kamari, which offer clean, comfortable, beautiful hotels, often with pools, but they face the open sea, not the cliffs.
we have to hit the traveler with the brutal cost reality check right away. The price difference isn't marginal, it's exponential.
It's shocking. To get that bucket list caldera view, a hotel in Oiaia with a private pool during high season can easily cost $1,000, $1,500, even $2,000 US a night.
Which is just not viable for a moderate budget for a whole week.
No way. But then you look to the beach side, Carissa specifically, and you can find lovely, modern, clean hotels, often steps from the beach with a pool, for between $100 and $180 a night, even in July.
The difference is staggering.
Yeah.
So this leads us to the recommended compromise, which I think is probably the single most strategic insight for anyone planning a trip to Santorini.
The view is truly breathtaking. It is worth experiencing, but the cost to wake up to it every single morning,
Yeah.
it just doesn't justify it for an entire trip.
So the strategy is to splurge.
Splurge for 1, maybe 2 nights on the caldera side. Get that defining moment. Get the photos, immerse yourself in the cliffside life, and then after 2 nights, you move to the beach side for the rest of your stay.
And the beauty of this strategy is you're not actually missing out on the view.
Not at all. You can visit Oia and Fira anytime you want during the day. Enjoy the restaurants, the shops, the sunset, and then you retreat back to your perfectly adequate, financially sensible hotel room on the beach.
It turns a budget-busting trip into something that is both achievable and maximized for the experience.
Exactly.
Okay, finally, let's move to Crete. The strategy here shifts entirely from view versus price to scale versus accessibility.
Right. Given Crete's massive size, the strategic advice is very clear. Do not try to see it all from one hotel. You have to choose a home-based region and just commit to immersing yourself there.
Driving from one end of Crete to the other for a day trip is just a fool's errand.
It is. Our sources strongly recommend the west of Crete for first-time visitors, and they specifically nominate Chania as the ideal home base.
Why Chania over the capital, Heraklion?
Chania is spectacular. It has this stunning, incredibly well-preserved Venetian harbor that is just a pleasure to wander through day and night. It's steeped in history, it has a phenomenal food scene, and crucially, it's the perfect launch pad for getting to the most famous natural wonders on the West Coast.
Like Balas and Elefonici.
Exactly. And the Samaria Gorge. Heraklion, on the other hand, while it's functional and has the Knossos Palace, is a much larger, more modern, and less charming city center. Chania is where the aesthetic payoff is highest.
So the takeaway for Crete accommodation is geographical commitment. Choose the west, base yourself in Chania, and explore thoroughly within a 3-hour radius.
That's the move. Or, for the niche adventurer, you could base yourself in the east, but you have to understand the logistics get more complex and the tourist infrastructure thins out quite a bit.
Okay, we've established the logistics and the sleeping arrangements. Now we get to the absolute, non-negotiable, slam-dunk reason to visit Greece.
The food.
The food. The cuisine here is simply transcendent.
It truly is. It elevates the entire experience beyond just historical sites and pretty views. The food is so fresh, it's incredibly simple, and it's focused entirely on the quality of the ingredients.
And the philosophy behind it. I would argue that Greek food is a perfect reflection of the culture. It's not fussy. It doesn't rely on complex techniques. It focuses on the quality of the olive oil, the simplicity of the vegetables, the freshness of the seafood, and the concept of sharing. It's an inherently communal experience.
And you see that philosophy immediately when you order their most famous dish, the Greek salad, or horiatiki.
We absolutely must recalibrate expectations here. If you're used to a lettuce-filled version from back home, you're in for a surprise.
The real horiatiki has zero lettuce. That is a crime against Greek cuisine.
So what's in it?
It's a masterclass in simplicity. Enormous, ripe, chunky tomatoes bursting with flavor, crisp cucumber, slices of red onion, some amazing local olives, and then the centerpiece. A massive, thick slab of feta cheese resting right on top, seasoned with dried oregano.
And it's all just drowned in olive oil.
Absolutely drowned in high-quality local olive oil. You need bread just to soak up the leftover oil and tomato juice at the bottom. That's the ritual.
Speaking of perfect simple foods, let's talk about the ultimate budget-conscious meal. The gyro.
The gyro is the gold standard of inexpensive, authentic Greek street food. For our moderate traveler, the gyro is your best friend. It costs, what, 2 or 3 euros?
About that. And you get this warm, pliable pita bread, stuffed with perfectly seasoned slow-roasted pork or chicken sliced right off the vertical spit.
Then tzatziki, fresh onions, tomatoes, and the secret ingredient that just elevates the whole thing.
A few French fries tucked right inside the wrap.
It is the definition of a satisfying meal on the go.
But while the gyro stand is essential for a quick lunch, the real culinary magic happens when you venture just a few streets off the main tourist drag and find a proper taverna.
The taverna strategy is so crucial for avoiding disappointment. Never, ever eat at the restaurant right on the main square with the glossy, laminated picture menu in 6 languages.
That is a tourist trap.
A classic one. Instead, walk 2 or 3 blocks away. Look for tavernas with handwritten menus where the dishes change daily based on what's fresh. And look for the places where you see tables full of locals speaking Greek. That's your seal of authenticity.
And when you're there, you have to embrace the concept of sharing. Order mise, the small plates.
Yes. Sharing lets you sample everything. Beyond the salad, you have to get the fried calamari, which is surprisingly tender there, and saganaki.
The fried cheese.
That iconic, sharp cheese, pan-fried until it's golden brown, served with a squeeze of lemon. And you have to try fava, which confuses first-timers. It's not fava beans.
Right, it's a dip.
It's a smooth, earthy, and delicious yellow split pea dip, often topped with olive oil and capers. It's incredible.
And we should mention regional specialties. The food in Crete, for example, is distinct.
Absolutely. Cretan cuisine relies heavily on wild greens, specific cheeses like graviera. A traveler to Crete must try dakos. It's a barley rusk, softened with a bit of water or oil, topped with grated tomato, olive oil, and soft cheese. It sounds simple, but the quality of the ingredients makes it unforgettable.
Okay, so with all this amazing food and the intense summer heat, we need the final piece of the culinary puzzle.
The Greek mastery of iced coffee.
They have perfected it. It's an art form, and it's necessary for surviving those hot afternoons. This is not the watery, lukewarm stuff you might get elsewhere.
No, we're talking about 2 specific drinks you have to know. Freddo espresso and the Freddo cappuccino.
What's the difference?
The base is the same for both. It's a shot of espresso that's aggressively whipped in a mixer with some ice and sugar until it forms this thick, cold, dense froth.
Okay.
If you order a Freddo espresso, that's what you get. Pure, potent, cold, creamy espresso froth over ice. It's dark and intense.
And the Freddo cappuccino.
They take that same whipped espresso, pour it over ice, and then top it with a thick, beautifully frothed layer of cold milk foam. It's less intense, incredibly refreshing. Both are essential for surviving the summer heat.
All right, fueled by saganaki and Freddo cappuccinos, we are ready to tackle the major sites. Itinerary mastery in Greece is all about strategy, timing, and avoiding unnecessary friction.
We have to start in Athens with the inevitable, non-negotiable centerpiece, the Acropolis and the Parthenon. And this has to be approached with the precision of a military operation to avoid the crowds.
The crowds are just crushing.
They form surprisingly early, so timing is everything. The sources are definitive. Go the moment it opens, which is typically 8 a.m.
Be there before it opens.
Yes. If you can arrive 10 or 15 minutes before the gates open, you have a genuine chance of walking right up to the Parthenon and having those first 15 minutes of quiet contemplation almost to yourself.
And the contrast is stark. By 9:30 a.m., the tour buses arrive.
And the entire site transforms from this awe-inspiring historical landmark into a frustrating human bottleneck. The rule is firm. Go early or go late in the evening when the crowds thin out again. Just avoid midday entirely.
And there's a modern trick to help with this.
The digital ticketing system.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Purchase your tickets online days or weeks in advance. Do not rely on buying physical tickets at the gate.
The ticket line is a queue in itself.
It's a huge queue. By buying the digital pass, you skip that friction entirely, you go straight to the security gate, and you save yourself precious time in that crucial early morning window.
So once you've conquered the Acropolis, what's next?
The sources recommend spending time just getting deliberately lost in the Plaka. Even though we said don't sleep there, it is an essential part of the Athenian aesthetic. It's touristy, but it's undeniably beautiful with its winding streets and all the bougainvillea. It's the perfect place to grab a coffee before moving on.
Okay, moving on to Santorini. We have to tackle the most famous daily ritual, the Santorini sunset dilemma in Oia.
Right. This is the view that launched 1,000 postcards. And let's be clear, the sunset in Oia is genuinely, unequivocally, every bit as beautiful as the pictures. It's a moment of pure, transcendent, natural beauty.
But, and this is a massive,
It is shared with thousands of people.
it turns this natural wonder into a crowded, almost aggressive spectacle. People start claiming their spots hours in advance, jostling for the best view.
And it's become such a phenomenon that, yes, people actually applaud when the sun finally dips below the horizon.
So if a dense crowd ruins the moment for you, the sources highlight a vastly superior alternative.
The catamaran cruise. This was highlighted as the absolute defining highlight of the Santorini experience for our sources. Instead of fighting for a sliver of railing in Oia, you sail around the caldera.
It's an afternoon trip, usual.
Yeah, it offers swimming, a visit to the volcanic hot springs, an amazing dinner prepared right on board, and then the main event. You watch the sunset from the water, looking back at the cliffs of Oia.
And the advantage is profound.
You're seeing the iconic spectacle with far fewer people, you're enjoying a delicious meal, and you're getting a completely different perspective on the island's massive volcanic scale. It is the strategic choice for the traveler who prioritizes relaxation over mass participation.
Now let's shift to Crete, where the itinerary is all about nature immersion and rugged landscapes.
The geography of Crete is dominated by mountains and gorges. We specifically recommend that travelers prioritize this. For the moderately adventurous, you should consider hiking a portion of the famous Samaria Gorge.
Okay, but we need to inject a safety and logistics check here. Samaria Gorge is one of the longest in Europe. What's required?
It's an intense day out. The full hike is about 10 miles, and it takes a fit person 5 to 7 hours to complete. It is all downhill, and it requires sturdy hiking shoes, plenty of water, and an early start.
So it's not a casual morning walk.
Not at all. But the reward, walking through the iron gates at the end, is spectacular. And there are shorter, less demanding gorges like Imbros that offer similar beauty without the full-day commitment.
And then there's the beach pilgrimage in the west of Crete.
These are the beaches that look like a screensaver come to life. Bilis Lagoon and Elefonici Beach, with its famous pink sand, are essential viewing. But travelers have to understand the logistical challenge.
They're not easy to get to.
Not at all. To reach Bilis, you face a rough, unpaved road and then a necessary 30-minute downhill walk. Elefonici also requires a long drive down winding rural roads.
But the payoff is immense.
Perfect turquoise water, unique sand. But you have to budget a full day and the energy for the drive and the walk. If you're not prepared for that effort, you will be disappointed.
This brings us to the most vital segment, what to skip. This is essential for saving time, money, and sometimes your conscience.
We'll start with a major island skip based purely on our target traveler's profile, the moderate budget seeker.
Skip Mykonos.
Unless you are specifically after the extremely expensive, high-end, world-class party scene, the sources advise skipping Mykonos.
I found Mykonos felt disconnected from the real Greek experience. It's highly polished, it's incredibly expensive. We're talking $20 cocktails, club entry fees that rival a full day's budget elsewhere. And it often feels like a theme park for the rich and famous.
Yeah, other islands like Naxos or Paros offer equally stunning beaches, better food, a more authentic culture, and a dramatically lower price tag. For the moderate traveler, the value proposition for Mykonos just isn't there.
Okay, next skip. This one is based on ethical considerations in Santorini. We have to strongly advise against riding the donkeys.
Right. These animals carry tourists and luggage up the steep, winding steps from the old Port of Phyra up to the town. There are numerous reports that the donkeys are overworked, often in extreme heat, and suffer poor treatment.
For the conscientious traveler, this is an easy decision. Just avoid it.
And the simple, practical alternative is the cable car.
It's faster, it offers a fantastic vertical view of the caldera, and it's the clear ethical choice. It's a no-brainer.
On the food front, skip number 3 is simple but profound. Skip the tourist trap restaurants.
We mentioned this with the taverna strategy, but it really bears repeating. If a restaurant is on the main high-traffic square of any tourist hub, and it has a big glossy menu with pictures of the food in 6 languages, skip it.
Immediately. You're paying a 50% premium for mass-produced, lower-quality food. Just walk 2 or 3 blocks away. That simple act will yield dramatically better food for half the price.
And your final comprehensive skip is maybe the most important for overall vacation satisfaction.
Skip the rush. Travelers have to avoid the temptation to cram too much into their itinerary. We see people try to do Athens, Mykonos, Santorini, and Crete in 7 days.
That's impossible.
It is. If you attempt that, you will spend over half your vacation in transit in taxis, at airports, on ferries, waiting for check-in.
Greece demands to be savored. It really requires a slower pace.
The recommendation is clear. For a 7-day trip, pick 2 locations and experience them deeply. If you have 10 days or more, you can maybe stretch to 3, but no more. Prioritize immersion over enumeration.
Yeah, we've covered the logistics, the costs, the data points. But what about the intangible feeling of Greece? What is the real vibe once you put down your bags and you just settle in?
For me, the core experience is defined by a single powerful Greek concept that really dictates the entire human interaction.
Philoxenia.
Philoxenia. It literally translates to a love of strangers, but it signifies this profound, ancient, deeply entrenched culture of genuine hospitality. It's the feeling that you're not just a customer providing revenue, you're a guest in their home, or at least in their country.
And this warmth is palpable. It shows up in these small, surprising gestures. The taverna owner who insists on pouring you a free glass of digestive ouzo, or maybe Cretan Rocky at the end of your meal.
The extra dessert that arrives unsolicited. The feeling that the person serving you genuinely wants you to enjoy your time. This unsolicited generosity just elevates the entire experience.
There's also this fascinating contrast in the physical environment that defines the vibe for me.
What's that?
The country is so steeped in this, 2,500-year-old tangible history. But at the same time, it's a vibrant, modern European country that's living intensely in the present.
You see that juxtaposition everywhere. You'll be walking past the ancient agora where Socrates once debated, and right next to it, you'll see a building covered in vibrant, challenging, modern street art.
It's proud of its past, but refuses to live only in it.
Exactly. It's dynamic. And perhaps the most significant cultural hurdle and eventual pleasure for many Western travelers is the sense of time.
The pace.
Especially on the islands, the pace is significantly slower. Meals are long affairs. Lunch can easily stretch into 2 or 3 hours. There is no frantic, stressed energy.
And this slower rhythm, it forces you, the traveler who's often tightly wound and on a schedule, to finally slow down and just be present. It's like a mandatory detox from the modern rush.
The magic moment that encapsulates this entire vibe is easily recognizable. You're sitting at a seaside taverna as the sun dips below the horizon, the water is lapping the shore. You've finished your meal, and the owner has just dropped a small plate of watermelon or a free glass of Rocky on the table.
And you're surrounded by the sense of salt and oregano, and you realize you have absolutely nowhere else you need to be for the next few hours. That stillness, that acceptance. That is the essence of Greek magic.
We've broken it all down, the costs, the crowds, the food, the cultural feeling. Now, for the definitive conclusion. Based on this deep dive, does Greece live up to the hype for our moderate traveler?
What's your verdict?
My conclusion is a nuanced but decisive yes. It absolutely is worth the trip, but only if you follow the strategic plan we laid out today. It's worth it if you actively plan to mitigate the crowds and the high costs, if you embrace the Caldera Beach split, if you seek out the authentic tavernas, and if you fully submit to that slower pace, it remains an essential destination.
I'm even more emphatic. A decisive yes, 1,000 times yes. It completely lives up to the monumental hype. But the strategic planning we've discussed is the bridge between a disappointing, crowded trip and a legendary one. The history, the landscapes, the food, and that overwhelming philoxenia, it all delivers.
All right, time for the official verdict. Rated out of 10 golden olives. Accounting for the difficulty of navigating the peak season crowds and the cost inflation, I rate Greece a solid 9.0 out of 10 golden olives. But strategic planning is a prerequisite for that score.
See, I'm rating it marginally higher. I think if you manage the logistics we've laid out, the sheer perfection of the scenery and the cuisine elevates it beyond almost any other Mediterranean destination. I'm giving Greece a 9.5 out of 10 golden dollars.
So the verdict is in. Greece is worth it, but strategy is paramount.
And this leads us directly into our final provocative thought for you, the listener. It builds directly on the caveats we've discussed, the pain points of cost and congestion.
Considering that the two major drawbacks, intense crowding and astronomical prices, peak so sharply in that June, July, and August window, the ultimate strategic move builds on this whole idea of timing.
So if the goal is to maximize the 9.5 experience while mitigating the 9.0 caveat, what should you do?
The final advice is this. Aim for the shoulder seasons of May or September. The weather is still perfect warm enough for swimming, but not the punishing heat of midsummer. Prices are dramatically lower and the crowds thin out considerably.
So by choosing May or September, you capitalize on the wonderful weather in the Philoxenia.
And you successfully mitigate the two biggest friction points of the whole experience. That timing choice is the difference between an incredible trip and a truly flawless, moderate budget deep dive into history. Go then, and you'll understand exactly why the hype is deserved.